Jonathan Edwards was obviously a great man of God. His life was instrumental in the time in the movement of the Great Awakening. I don't ever think that we could pin down and say one person is the only person that mattered in any particular age. However, I do believe that God has used some people more significantly than others. And I think Jonathan Edwards was obviously one of those individuals whom God used in a significant way for the day in which he lived. You know, the Great Awakening, it was later known as the Great Awakening. At the time, they just called it the revivals or the quickening. But in that time, you know, God was, I believe, the Holy Spirit was trying to bring the people to an understanding of a religion that was more heartfelt than just laws or creeds. And I do see a progression of the work of the Holy Spirit coming up since the dawn of the Reformation, bringing the church back up out of the darkness of the Dark Ages, as Luther said, the Babylonian captivity of the church. And so I think the Holy Spirit was moving all along the way, and doctrinally, you know, he was using Luther to bring them up out of uh, out of relics that they weren't saved by creeds, but they were saved by faith. And then Luther, Wesley, come on, and Edwards and different men, and was bringing the church over to a more of an experience, that it was more than just doctrine, or it was more than just creeds. It was actually a relationship. And I think that Edwards was instrumental in that. As one man said, a pastor whom George Whitfield had led to the Lord, he said, I had preached a Calvinist doctrine, and I preached it for many years, and yet I come to realize that I did not even have it myself. And that was that new birth that God was bringing the church to. Not saying that prior Christians didn't have the new birth, but it was as an age and as a people, the church was growing, coming up out of that darkness of the Dark Ages. And I see that Edwards, in his time and in his day, he was instrumental in that atmosphere and in that aspect that helped to bring the church up out of it, especially the church in New England. And I think that he was a great tool. I also believe that one thing of his lasting legacy, which I think sometimes people would overlook, but I say that you can't overlook it, is his life, his work on the life of David Brainerd, and what that did for the oncoming generation, and how that helped to spawn the missionary age that came right on the heels of the First Great Awakening. I believe that it came right in the Second Great Awakening, and that inspired many, many, many souls. And, you know, I believe it was said one time that one soul is worth 10,000 worlds. And so then, if you just attributed that alone to the work of Edwards and his life would have been momentous, let alone the rest of the work that he has done.